All right. Hey everyone, how's it going? All right. Hope you're all doing well today. Okay, everything seems nice. All right. Okay, so I got a bit of interesting thing that I want to research, and I figured I'd do it on live stream, so this should be interesting. I'm going to play around with Hex Grids, which is pretty much just math, but it's actually pretty simple math, so that should be interesting. So let's see. Map should be similar to isometric. I'm going to be doing the math in a, well, I was going to say in 3D, but actually the plane is in 2D, XZ, but yeah. So let's do it. A-star would actually be quite simple. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure A-star will be super simple because A-star is all about calculating the neighbors. So the only difference between a grid and the hex grid is that the hex grid has 6 neighbors, whereas the regular grid has 3, 6, 8. So that's pretty much the only difference. Just with that difference, I'm pretty sure it won't work. But anyways, before that, I want to make sure the basics of the hex work. So let's do some research and try to figure out if all of this works. Okay. So I got my notes here of the things that I want to test. Basically did a bunch of research to try to figure out what is the math required to make this work. So let's give it a shot. And by the way, I got a video coming out in about 40 minutes. It's about the Unity art bundle. So there was a tools bundle last week and now there's a art bundle. So if you want, go ahead and check that out afterwards. The regular video doing an overview is coming out in a bit, but anyways, over here, let's start working with hexes. I made a nice simple visual just to verify that everything is working. So, all right. It should make A-star faster with fewer neighbors. Yeah, technically. Although the neighbors part, if your A-star is well optimized, the neighbors calculation shouldn't be too difficult, but yeah, technically, yeah. Yep, hexagons are bestagons, yeah. They are great. I really gotta rewatch that video from CGP Grey. That was great. Haven't seen it in quite a while. Anyways, okay. So let's figure it out. Estava agora a fazer o teu curso Unity Turn-Based Array. Oh, that's awesome. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're learning a lot. Took a lot of work, but I'm really happy with how it came out. And actually what I'm working on here, this is going to be a free update to the course. Pretty much just converting the game of the course from working with regular rectangular grids to working with hex grids. So that's going with all this research. So let's figure out how it all works. Okay, right. So let's try doing some work. Okay, so I got my notes here. So the whole thing is a bunch of math, but it's actually some pretty simple math. I'm not very good at math, so if you like me are also not very good at math, then this should all be nicely understandable. So let's start making a script, just write some code and test it out. Okay, let's call it test hex grid and make a game object. Human brains use hex grids to make internal maps for navigation. Is that right? Oh, that's quite interesting. Currently working on your 2D Build Defender course. Well, that's great. Yeah, I really like that game. That was a very fun design, nice mix of building, defending. That was pretty fun. I'm quite happy with the design of that game. That was nice. Okay, so here now the first thing that I want is, well, let's actually just hide the visual on the floor, but do leave the collider. Yeah, right, let me first just make sure that my mouse 3D script, make sure this is working. So over here, let's put it on the ground layer, on the mouse 3D. Let's put it, also hit the ground layer, and let me just make a quick visual for it. So just a sphere, put it super tiny, and let's make a nice material just to make it glow nicely. So mouse, and on the sphere, drag it, and to make it fun, let's enable emission, nice green, and blow it up. Okay, great. So now for my camera, just make sure that it's looking correctly. So let's say I'm looking down here, and okay. All right. So about making a hex-based game that plays like an adventure board game. Yeah, adventure or board games, they are very usually working with hexes, so yeah, this is very useful to know. Okay, why is this? Did I not make the Does the cube not have a collider? It does have a collider. It's on the ground, and oh right, I didn't drag it, that's why. Okay, and let's just make sure that the mouse 3D is working. And nope, not working yet. Why is that working? That's strange. Also want to make a sphere planet with hex grids. Yep, there was a game, what was that called? What was that called? Before We Leave. I think that's it. Yeah, this one. Really awesome. It's a hex grid on a spherical planet. That is a really awesome art style. So yeah, if you wanted to build something like this, yeah, that's pretty much just make a hex grid and somehow attach it into a sphere. It's really nice. Yeah, I've had this game on my 2 playlists for quite some time because it looks really interesting. Nice management building on a hex spherical world. Really cool. Okay, why was this one not working? Did I not... Next I made the mouse roll position, the recast using the mouse. Is this one not hitting? That's strange. Next I got, oh right, never mind, I put this one on the wrong layer. That's why it doesn't work, of course. I'll take it out, put it on the ground, okay. Alright, there you go. Okay, so my mouse is indeed working. For the King was a popular, isn't that an adventure game? Something like that? I remember that name. Yeah, that looks nice. That, yep, pretty nice. Yep, nice adventure, hexes. Yep, really nice. I miss your dots tutorial as well. When dots 1.0 comes out, you can definitely expect a lot of them coming, since I really enjoy the tech behind dots. So yep, once it hits 1.0, definitely gonna do a lot of things with it. Definitely gonna be interesting. Okay, anyway, so I just wanted to make my mouse, just to make the mouse visual work, just so I know where I am. Okay, so now let's first just flatten out this one. So put it like that, put it on 90 degrees, and maybe put the camera a bit more up, just so I can actually test out. Okay, put the camera right in here. All right, so now on the script, let's just do a quick update, and on update let's do a debug.log on the mouse 3D, and let's get the mouse wrong position. Okay, so let's see and make sure that the scale of this is indeed correct. See, working with hexagonal tiles. Yep, hexagons are awesome. So, and hopefully after the research that I've done, it should be pretty simple to implement this. So let's hope so. Oh, I left the other log. Okay, so anyways, on that corner, I've got 0.50 and 0.25. Yep, exactly what I'm expecting. 0.5, yep, exactly like that. That one is, yep, exact. All right, so far the scale of my nice squad is indeed working. Because I made the squad, I drew this in Photoshop. Actually, Photoshop has a nice tool for making hexagons. That was interesting. And pretty much, yeah, so I've got all these points, and the hex pretty much has a certain distance from the center to the side, which happens to be 0.5. So this entire width is 1 unit. And then this point over here, this is the tricky thing. I thought I was going to get it based on an angle, but not really. To calculate this point, I'm going to have to start from the center, go to the right by half the size, then go up by also half the size. So that is why this one is on 0.5 and 0.25. It's pretty much that exact point. Okay, so let's first keep track of all the points, calculate where all of them are, and then I'm going to start identifying if a certain point is within or outside of the mesh. All right, okay, so let's start calculating those points. All right. So over here, let's make a simple class, private class. What am I gonna call it? Well, just hexagon, I guess. And I'm going to have a vector 3. Let's figure out the names. So I've got upper, upper, upper. All right, so an upper right corner. Yeah, and the other one, do I call it upper corner? Yeah, I guess so. So a public vector 3 for the upper corner. Then I'm going to have the upper left corner, and then the ones down here. So the lower left corner, just the lower corner, and the lower right corner. Okay, so those are the 6 points on a hexagon. So pretty much that is the upper right, the upper left, lower, and lower right. Okay, great. Vertex instead of corner. Yeah, I guess technically those two names would work. Corner, vertex. I guess vertex kind of means a mesh, whereas I want it to be more abstract than an actual mesh. But yeah, even though in a bit I do want to make a dynamic mesh, but okay. So now let's first manually create a hexagon, then going to do it procedurally. So let's create a new one. Now, for the, well, let me define a vector 3 for the hexagon center point. So I need this as well. So vector 3 for the center point. Writing each of those, I'm going to put them in one line separated by column, just because I don't like that at all. I find that very confusing to read. So like this, one field in one line, personally I find this much easier to read. But yep, as with so many things, when it comes to code readability, it's whatever works for you. So if you don't like that, then by all means do that. Compass directions, yeah, that is also interesting, but for me, always takes about half a second in my brain to try to figure out, okay, west, is that left or right? I never quite know. The east-west thing, that is always tricky to me, so that is why I stick with upper and lower instead of east-west and so on. Okay, the center point, let's put it on vector 3.0. And then over here, let's put the center point equals the hexagon center point, all right? And actually, yeah, might as well put it over here, or do I make that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just doing this for testing. This is going to be all refactored in quite a bit, but let's do it like this. Okay, vector 3 for the center point, and I'm going to receive this center point, all right? And then inside of this one, instead of creating it like this, let's do a new one, pass in that one like that, and then on this one, let's do the calculations. And I need the center point as well as the size, of course, otherwise I can't figure out where it is. So a float for the size. Hey, look at that, a custom character. Hello. That's nice. That's awesome. By the way, all of you, you can all get custom characters. You can just follow this nice little tutorial. You can get your character. You can just download the sprite sheet. You can draw on top of it, and your character will look nice and custom. So if you want, go ahead and play around with that. Okay. As soon as you orient the tiles with the points up. Yep. Yeah, I might see how to rotate them, but yeah, for now, I saw this. If you want to learn, pretty much this is the website that I learned a lot from it. This is super detailed website, so if you want to learn more about hexagons, definitely check that out. But yep, this is pretty much the style that I'm going to be building, so with a pointy top instead of a flat top. So this kind of thing that I'm doing, so I got the size over here, then size up here, then size half to get to this point, size half to get that point, and so on. Okay, right, so where was I? Right, so I got the point and I need to receive the size, and now I can start calculating. So the upper right corner, this one, and do I call it size or size half? That's a good question. Let's say size half, yeah, that's probably, okay, let's go with size. All right, so the upper right corner is going to start off from the center point, then I want to move to the right. So vector, ooh, that's a tricky thing. Ooh, actually that's tricky. Now I'm trying to think in terms of XY, XZ, the every online method. Take a square grid and shift every other. Yep, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Right now I'm mainly focused on the math of trying to figure out is a certain point inside a hex or not. That's kind of the thing. Okay, so here a bit of a tricky issue because I'm trying to get this to work with XZ plane. So instead of using the default ones, I'm going to be using like this. Okay, so for the upper right corner, I got to move to the right by half the size. So for the right, that is going to be 100. So that is movement to the right multiplied by size multiplied by 0.5f. Or let's define here the float half size equals size times 0.5f. Okay. So then I multiplied by that. So that puts me to the right. And to get the upper right corner, then I got to lift it up. So plus a new vector 3, except up in this context is up on the z. So 0, 0, 1 multiplied by, and actually I think it's half size times 0.5. Right? Would it be very unperformant to have a collider on each hex? Yeah, that approach does work, and it is indeed simpler than using math, but yeah, that is going to reach into scalability issues pretty quickly. So yeah, that is one option that you can do if your game is limited, but I really want to do this proper approach using math, because this one is going to be easily expandable, scalable, and so on. What Portuguese city are you based? I'm in Lisbon. You can use radian math with yeah, I mean, for me, math and angles is already tricky enough, and radians becomes even more tricky. So yeah, I definitely stick with Euler as much as possible. Okay. Right, so I want to go to the right, I want to go up, but I want to go up by half size times 0.5. So I think this is correct, because basically I've got the center point here. I want to go to the right by my half size, which is this distance. However, when going up, is it also half size? No, I think it's half size. Yeah, exactly. It's not half size, it's half size, but half of that. Half size. Okay, that's a bit confusing, but yeah, okay. So I think this point should be correct. So let's do a debug.log, try to figure out and see if this is correct. So over here, just got to define a float for the size. And for the size, let's put 1 unit. So got 0.5 on each side. All right. Okay, so let's try it out. All right. So, all right, because I got the mouse in the middle. Yeah, let me take away the mouse log. But yeah, the other one did work. This one is indeed on 0.5 and 0.25, and it is indeed correct. So if I put a new one and I put it on 0.50, 0.25, and yep, it is that point. All right, great. Okay, so far so good. Tutorial on full body FPS character. You really need to be more specific than that. What do you mean by full body? What do you mean by things? What do you mean by FPS? I've got a video on a third-person shooter. So if you want to look at that one, third person or first person works pretty much the same. And if you want to see how to work with animation rigging to make the weapon aim perfectly, look at that one. So pretty much something like that. Okay, right, so the first point is indeed working perfectly. So the upper right corner, that is perfect. So now doing all the others should be pretty simple. So let's do the upper left corner. And for the upper left, I go up by center point, okay, then instead of that, go in -1, and then up by that, yep. Now for the, let's go the other one, just the upper corner. So the upper corner is on the center point, and I just move up by half the size, so that is just 0, just 1 by the half size, yep, that is correct, all right. So the upper corner and the lower corner, both these are super simple, so the lower corner, okay. So I got those. Then for the other ones, so for the lower left corner and the lower right corner, let's see these two. Okay, so for the lower right, I start on the center point, then I gotta move to the right, so this one is a +1 by half the size, and then I gotta move down by half size minus point. Yep, that's pretty much it. Okay, all right, so I think these are working already. Hey, great. How do I print all this out without being one by one? How about if I convert it into JSON, just for fun? So to JSON, but not this one. Let's put it over here. Let's convert this hexagon to JSON and see if this does work, if I can read all the points. Okay. All right. Well, so far the math is going good. Although so far it's all the simple stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So, for all of these, this will be available as standalone YouTube video later. Yep. And actually, I think for this one I made it on, yeah, this one will show up as a regular video, yeah. Which is going to be interesting because I've got a standard video coming out in 20 minutes. So then I have no idea how YouTube is going to handle having one video and one live stream coming out on the same day. So that's going to be an interesting experiment to see what that does to the analytics. Okay, right, so this one I'm pretty sure that works. So for the center point on 0, 0, 0, okay, makes sense. The right corner is on 0.5, 0.25, yep. The upper corner, 0, 0, 0.5, all right, awesome. Then the upper left is to the left by -0.5, then by 0.25, yep. And for the lower left, going left, then down, yep. And the lower corner is just down, and the lower right corner to the right and down. All right, great. Okay, so using some math, using a center point, I am now calculating all the various points. Okay. So now let's figure out the logic for testing if a point is inside a hexagon. Okay. So now let's see all this logic. Cardinal direction is up. You can simplify as left, right, trapezoid. I'm not sure what that means. Cardinal direction is up. Are you saying use angles instead? Well, let's see. Okay, so I've got the, okay, so now let's define a point. Well, the point is going to be the, so a vector 3 for the test point, and the test point is going to be the mouse 3D dot get the mouse world position. Okay, so this is going to be my test point. Now, the first thing that I'm going to test is if it's within the horizontal. So test if the test point dot x, if it is under the, yep, exactly, because it is the, okay, that's going to be interesting converting into local and global space. That is going to be interesting. Okay, so for the hexagon dot, I want to test the x if it's under the right side. So let's go into the, yeah, I can use either of these, the upper or the lower, okay. And test point dot x is above hexagon dot upper left corner. Okay, so if it is this one, debug.log, let's do it inside horizontal. And let's put a log so it doesn't break. Okay, so the test point and the x. All right, great. Okay, so let's see if that simple test is now working and does detect if it is within the inside bounds. So if I'm here, this one is outside, and as I go there, yep, I'm inside. And if I go to the other side, okay, now I'm outside, and now I'm inside. All right, so I can detect if the mouse is within the left and right, but of course it's still detecting over here as being inside when it's outside. Okay, and also detects up here. So next, let's test under the width and height. Axial coordinates. I'm not sure what that means. You mean angles? Or do you mean local positions? So I gotta say, math is not my strong point, so if you give me technical terms, yeah, I'm not going to be able to understand. But yeah, okay, so with this, I am inside the horizontal. Now let's test if it's inside the vertical as well. So if the test point dot z, if the z is under the hexagon dot upper corner dot z, and the test point dot z is above the hexagon dot lower corner dot z. If so, then it is inside. So let's do a debug.log, except this time it's inside the vertical, although it's not really vertical, but yep, okay. All right, so let's see. About just the closest hex position to the mouse position. Yeah, that would not, just testing distance wouldn't work, because by testing distance, you're essentially just testing around a circular radius. So it would kind of break over here on these edge cases. You would select the wrong one. So yeah, just doing like that wouldn't quite work. Split into two quads, the left and right. Yep, I do on this this really nice website. Over here there was a part, where did they mention? They mentioned something interesting here about quadrants. Okay, maybe it wasn't on this one, maybe it was on another one. But yeah, so pretty much I want to test if it's inside the right and the left side. Then I want to make sure if it's within the bounds. Then I want to test, is it on this corner? If so, then I got to test against this angle right here. If it's on this quadrant, I want to test against this one, and so on. So pretty much like that. Okay. Right, so what am I testing? Okay, so in here, so if I go here, I'm inside the horizontal, and if I go in here, then now I'm inside the vertical. Okay, so far so good. All right. Right, okay, so I can test if it's inside the horizontal and vertical, so these were the easy parts. And now, let me test just before I put all of them together. Okay, so the horizontal and vertical, that does work. But now I want to test if it's within that angle, because dealing with odd angles, that's the tough part. So let me figure it out. Okay, so basically the way that let me check my notes here. So basically with my notes, I need to use the dot product and I need to use the vector3 dot perpendicular. So let me first figure out how that one works. To a specific new game, just working through new game mechanics. Well, I've got my super useful grid system that I've made in so many videos. Where's my grid system? There you go. All of these, they're all based on rectangular grid. So I'm pretty much working on the math to be able to convert all of these into a hex grid. Specifically over here, my turn-based strategy course. So this one works on a standard rectangular grid. But yeah, pretty much want to research how to be able to convert that and so on, make it hex. So that's kind of the goal here. So pretty much the research that I'm doing here will end up as a free expansion on the course, so that should be fun. Okay, so let me try to figure that out. Okay, so I'm going to need to, so I've got my points, now I need to calculate the direction from this point into this point. Why was I thinking, oh right, because then I need to rotate it. Okay, so yeah, I just finished that course. That's awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll learn a lot. All right, so let me figure out the direction vector going from the upper right corner into the upper corner. So let me do a debug.log here just to see if that does work. Or actually, instead of working inside here, let's work outside here. Okay, debug.log, let's go inside the hexagon. Let's grab the upper right corner. Or actually, no, start on the hexagon dot the upper corner. So upper corner minus the upper right corner. So this should give me that thing. And then let me make another one using that direction. And I'm going to use the function which I've never used, so vector2 dot perpendicular, except it's not going to work because it's the vector3. So that's going to be interesting. Right, so I need to calculate vector3. So there from upper right corner, this is going to be a huge name, to upper corner. All right, so this is this direction. So let's get this. So that's my direction. So that's the one going from there and up. And then for the perpendicular, except I'm going to need to create a new vector2 because this only works with vector2s. Yeah, long variable names. I mean, at least it's very descriptive, so there can be no doubt as to what this variable contains. Okay. So I calculate the perpendicular, and now let's see. I actually don't know if that one is going to rotate that way or that way. So let's see. Okay. Now let's see what it returns. Okay. So which one is the direction? Which one is that one? So this one is direction from the upper right to the upper corner. Does that actually make sense? I actually don't know. Well, that's... Yeah, right. I made this test, but I don't know how to verify it. But technically, no, yeah, it is correct. Yeah, of course. Going from this point to that point is going to move minus 0.5 on the x and plus 0.25 on the z. Yep. Okay, so that is correct. And then the other one makes a vector on minus 25 and minus 0.5. So I got to, in my brain, convert that from xy to xz. So minus 0.25 is going to move just a little bit and then down. So it is correct. Basically, I just wanted to know, is that going to point in that direction or up here? And apparently it is going to point around in this direction, which is exactly what I want. Okay, great. So that is indeed the vector. So that is that one. So, okay, let's think. I've got a vector 2, perpendicular. Let me store this one. Yeah, this whole conversion is difficult. I might actually have to make my own vector 2 perpendicular, because vector 3 does not have a perpendicular. Nope, it does not. So yeah, I'll probably have to make my own sort of utility function so I don't end up with very massive conversions between vector 2s and vector 3s. Okay, so I've got a vector 3. So, oh boy, this is tricky. Oh god, this is a tough name to figure out. So direction to center, except it's not really direction to the center, but yeah, anyways. So let's figure that out in a bit. So perpendicular.x, then 0 on the y, then perpendicular.z. Okay, so this one is going to be direction to center. And now for the final thing that I actually want to use, that's vector3 dot. And now I always forget which one of these, but I think it doesn't matter. So if I use this one, and then the other direction is the point to the center. Okay, now I'm confused. No, this one is the direction from that corner to the center. So now I want from the test point to that one, and if it goes in the same direction, then it's correct. If not, okay, so I need the vector3 for the direction from test point to where am I going? Test point to the upper right corner. Okay, I'm thinking a lot, so sorry if I'm not responding to chat, but yeah, trying to think. So the distance from the test point to the upper right corner, so let's go into the hexagon, grab the upper right corner, minus the test point. So this is going to be a certain direction. Let me do, yeah, I'm going to need a bunch of logs to make sure that I know what all of this is doing. And then I got the dot with that one and this one, and maybe the dot product will indeed work. Well, let's test. Let's see what all of this is doing. Dot. Okay, and let's hide this one. All right. So let's do a test and try it out. And I got an error. What did I forget? Did I not save? Oh, not z.y. Okay. All right. Hey there, doing great. Hey, thanks for being here with your awesome custom character. Thank you. That's nice. All right. So let's see if this one does work. Let me actually zoom in the camera. The camera is way too far. So let me zoom in the camera so it's a bit easier to see. All right. Okay. Just rectangle in mid and triangles to check if it hits any of them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so first of all, the direction from the test point to the upper right corner. So if the test point isn't there, so if the test point is right to the right, then direction from the test point to, yep, going to the left. All right, that is perfect. And yeah, actually it is already working. All right, awesome. So it is working. So if I go like this, why is it? Yeah, I probably flip the order around. Why is that one not approaching 1? That's a bit strange. Because it is working, but is the magnitude? Does the dot product, does that get confused with magnitude? That's probably it. So let me just normalize these, just to make sure that I see a nice -1 or +1. Perpendicular is pointing in the right direction. Yep, it is going inside, so that is correct. So if I see, yep, okay, so apparently that one does have to be normalized. All right, awesome. So so pretty much over here I'm testing if the mouse position, if it is on this side of this line here. So comparing against this line, is it on this side or on that side? And I can test with the dot product. So if it's on this side, the dot product is on -1, and if it's on that one, it's on positive. All right, and if it is perfectly perpendicular, so the other vector is pointing straight around, let's see, around here. So the dot product is exactly on -1, and if I point in there, it's exactly +1. All right, awesome. So this is indeed working. Is for a tutorial? Well, yep, I will make a tutorial on how to make a hex grid, and I will also update my turn-based strategy course to make it work with hexes. So this is going to be some very useful research. All right. Okay, bestagons. Yep. Hexagons are bestagons. Okay, now how do I clean up this code so that it's not quite such a mess? I'm trying to figure out, what do I call it? Test direction? Trying to come up with some good names for this. So maybe a vector3 for the, why not use VS Code? Just because I've used regular Visual Studio for such a long time. So this one works perfectly. In fact, I think this one, what is version? Yeah, I think this one is version 2017, but it works perfectly. So yeah. No reason to switch. Got nothing against Visual Studio Code. So if you like it, definitely use it. And for me, I won't keep using this. Okay, so let me think about the name. What is wrong with the built-in tile map? Well, because I want to learn how hexes work, and because the built-in tile map, I don't want to be using a tile map. I want to be using the Hex Corner Logic, not just for visual. So that is why I want to handle it all by myself. Okay, so let's figure out a good name for this. So basically, I only need this one in order to calculate the perpendicular. That is pretty much the only one that I want. I guess I can just go with super long names and then figure out if there's a better name. So basically, I just want... I'm annoyed because the name isn't perfect. The real question is why not dark mode? Because dark mode burns my eyes. That's pretty much it. I'm trying to think the direction of the upper right point down into the center, except that is not true. But yeah, I guess I won't take a bit of an incorrect name as opposed to something that would be way too annoying. I'm not sure. All right, anyway, so direction upper right corner to center. Although again, it's not exactly like that. Yeah, long names are always better, but over here it would technically be the direction upper right corner perpendicular from direction from upper right to upper corner. So at that point, I think if the name is 100 characters long, then at that point it would become quite tricky. So yeah, I guess let's go with this, even though the direction is not technically 100% going from that corner to the center. It's a bit more offside, so yeah. What do you think about JetBrains Rider? I've heard lots of people talk lots of good things about it, but I've never actually used it, so I don't know. Basically, I'm very happy with Visual Studio. It does everything that I wanted to do. It allows me to rename. It allows me to have colors on all the things. So yeah, pretty much Visual Studio works perfectly. Okay. Should set codes for each other instead of simply naming. Yeah, maybe. I mean, for these, I'm okay with these names. They are worthy, but I think they are descriptive. It's on these ones that are confusing. But anyways, let's go with this. Then I'll figure out if I can find out some other name. Notice me, senpai. All right, that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. Thank you. Okay, so upper right to center. Now upper left to center. So upper left corner to center. Then it's going to be the lower right corner to center. Right? Ooh, that is actually going to be tricky. This one, I'm not sure if it's going to work exactly as intended, but let's go. And the upper left corner to center. Will we post this video later? Yep, it will be posted later. Oh, look at that. It's almost 6 p.m. because I got a regular video coming out in a bit. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how that regular video is going to conflict with the live stream, which is also going to be started as a video. So that is going to be interesting to look at that from the point of view of analytics. Okay, so let's just do this. Is this part of a bigger project? Well, the research that I'm doing here will eventually turn into a free expansion to my turn-based strategy course, so technically yes, although I will also make a standalone video, so yes and no, that is the answer. Okay, so the direction from the upper right corner to the upper corner, and I take the upper corner and the upper right corner. Then I've got to take that one and convert it into the perpendicular. Oh god, this is way too big a name. Oh boy, I don't like, again, I'm going to have to refactor this. I'm going to have to make my own perpendicular function so that it doesn't end up like this. Anyway, so this one should be correct, but now the other ones, that is what is going to be tricky. So I want the direction from the upper left corner to the upper corner. So upper left to the upper corner. So that is this direction. So upper corner minus the upper left corner. Okay, then from that one, I want to make that one a perpendicular, except I think this perpendicular is going to be moving in the opposite direction. So that is going to be tricky. I gotta convert this. But yeah, I do the perpendicular of that one, and that is eventually going to become this one, the direction upper left corner to center. Okay, now let's just do the other two ones. So direction from the lower left corner. For my background sound inspiration while I work on combining some systems I had worked on months and months ago. All right, that's awesome. Go for it. I hope the work goes well. Yeah, definitely push it towards the finish line. I mean, finishing projects is definitely where you get all of the learnings from that project. So yeah, definitely if you got something that was interesting, definitely go ahead and finish it. Okay, so this one is actually wrong. This is from the lower left corner to the lower corner. That's what I want. I don't want to go to the upper corner. So the lower corner, let's go into this one. Yeah, all these names are very unwieldy, but let's see. Because I think a bunch of these, oh, right, yeah, I think a bunch of these are going to be, yeah, perpendicular, trying to point to the center. I'm trying to point to the center, but it's not exactly to the center, because the center is not, where's my thing? So basically this angle here, the center is over here in the middle, and if I make the angle to the center, it is not going to match this line here. If I point straight to the center, then the line is more around like this. So I want to take this line this direction, then make it perpendicular to get it pretty much just like this. Then with that one, I can use the dot product to make it like that. How do you get a custom avatar again? There's a nice tutorial here. And when you do it, let me know, because there's a manual validation process. So if you make your own sprite sheet, make sure you link your YouTube account and then let me know so that I can manually validate it. Okay, so back into this logic. So this, I want the lower corner. 6 game object children, but that would not be scalable. And the whole point with doing this using math instead of raycast and so on is to make it scalable. So that is why I'm not doing it like that. Okay, so the lower corner minus the lower left corner. Lower corner minus the lower left corner. Okay, so I've got that one. Then I've got the perpendicular on this one. Yep, then I take that perpendicular. And this one becomes the direction from the lower left corner to the center. And the final one is going to be the lower right corner. So that's the lower right corner to the lower corner. Yes, so the lower right corner. Let's just make sure. Let's hope that all of these are correct. Let's hope I didn't miss anything here. Okay. So now let me do a whole bunch of logs on these ones. Okay, so on all of these, let's do this guy. This one should be correct. And now for the other ones, the lower left, the upper left, lower right, and lower right. All right, so that was a lot of stuff, but let's see if all of those are correct. Okay, boy, all right. Okay, let's pause this. All right. So let's see, the direction on the upper right corner, that is this one up here, going down to the center, although not exactly the center, that is minus on the X and lower on the Z, so that is correct. Then the upper left corner to the center. So, nope, that is going to the left. Yeah, exactly, that's the problem. That is going to the left and going up, so I pretty much want the opposite. So how do I... Yeah, I gotta invert it. I gotta make the direction from the upper left corner to, I pretty much gotta invert, oh boy, what did I do? I've got to invert this one, and not like this, obviously like this, the name is broken, but yeah. Check my character. Okay, let me try that. Okay, let's see if the other one is correct. So that one going left and down, that is correct. That one is going right and down, all right, that is correct. For the lower left corner, that's this one over here, it's going to the right and up, all right, that is perfect. And the lower right is going to the right and down, so that is not correct. So that one also needs to change. So like this. Did I save it? I did not save it. All right, because I wasn't there. All right, so there's 2 people with custom textures. Let's validate it, then tell it to update the character customization. And there you go, look at that, a custom character. That's nice. It's always awesome when people do this. Only a handful of people have done it, but yeah, it's pretty fun. So yeah, there you go. You've got a custom character. That's nice. Okay, so I think this logic did indeed work. Let's see. Right, so all of them work. So on the upper right corner, I'm going left and down. That is correct. On the upper left corner, I'm going right and down. That is correct. On the lower left corner, I'm going to the right and up, that is correct. And on the lower right corner, I'm going left and up, that is correct. All right. Whew, okay, that was tricky, but yep, it does work. So I've got all of the corners. And yeah, I should probably normalize them so I don't have that problem. So let's just normalize these. Just normalize these. Where am I? Just normalize these and normalize. Okay. So then I've got the direction. Oh, right. That is going to be. I mean, technically the math here is super simple, but the logic to get it all working, that's the thing that is quite a bit tricky about the vertices, but you actually mean the sides. No, I do mean the corners. So this one up here, this is exactly the upper right corner. Then this one is exactly the upper corner. This one is the upper left corner. So it's exactly on the corners that I'm thinking. So pretty much now I've got the perpendiculars all pointing to the side. So using that, I can calculate and see if a point is on one side or another side of a certain line. So I got direction, so let's just make sure this one works. Dear to center, that was the other one that I was doing, right? Yeah, I think I was using this one. So the hexagon dot this guy. I think that's what I was using. And yeah, that's the only tricky things that I need the test point to compare with that one, but yeah. Okay, so basically now I can get rid of this, and now I need this, and now this dot should be working with regards to the upper right corner. So let's see if it is working. You don't sound like you look. Okay, thank you, I guess. I don't know if that's positive or negative, but thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm testing against this line. So if the point isn't there, then I've got dot product on the positive. And if the point is here, I've got negative. All right, awesome. Though actually, I would like that to be the opposite. If I swap this, will that work? I actually don't know, so let's test. Test it out. Best way to structure architecture code as a newbie. Where should I start? Should I learn something like solid principle? Yep, definitely do study the solid principles. And, well, I mean, if you know the absolute basics, then I would definitely recommend you look into my turn-based strategy course, because the whole point with that course was to help you learn how to structure, organize the code, write good clean code. So that is what I would recommend. But you can also just go online. Oh, and yeah, and I don't have the book here with me, but the book Code Complete 2, I've recommended this book several times. So yeah, definitely go ahead and get this book. It's a pretty massive book. It's like 1,000 pages long, but if you want to learn how to write good clean code, definitely go ahead and get this book. Okay, so what was I doing? Right, testing. So this one, oh right, I just wanted to see if that one flips, becomes positive instead of negative. Okay. All right, so yeah, that actually didn't change. Did I not save the code, or is that intentional? Yeah, I don't know if the dot product is depending on that. I might vote for more live streams. Yeah, I definitely want to make them quite a bit more regular, since the setup works, everything works. Honestly, the only issue is that it's insanely hot. That's kind of the problem. Over here with these lights, I'm sweating like crazy, so I can't stream for more than about an hour and a half. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty messy. All right, so yeah, that does not swap, but it's okay. The dot product is under 1, so that can be good. Okay, so that's one of these dot products. So let's call it a float for dot test upper right corner. So this is going to be my test, and I do this dot product. All right. So now testing for the other ones. So the dot test on the upper left corner, there from test point to the upper left corner, and the upper left corner. All right, so this is actually hopefully pretty simple, and dear upper left corner to center. All right, so let's see if this one is working. So already got the horizontals working. So now if these lines work, then everything will indeed work. Okay, so which one am I testing? I'm testing the other one, right? So I'm testing this line here, and if I'm in here, I've got a negative, and in here I got a positive. All right, so that is awesome. Okay. But that course helped me a lot to go through 35%, but pause now because some work's on you. All right, yeah, that's great. I mean, the course is waiting for you, so don't feel stressed about that. Definitely go back to it when you got the time. Yeah, definitely. If this is your hobby, definitely don't stress. There are more important things. But yeah, do get back to it because, well, completing things really helps on learning the final part of it. So don't stress out, but eventually do make sure you get back to it. Don't drop it because that teaches you a lot of interesting things, especially near the end of the course. As things become more and more complex, that's when you learn quite a bit more. So that is quite an interesting one. Okay, so let me test just the other points. So this one is going to be this direction to the test point to the lower left corner. So lower left corner, that's all I need. And the there, lower left corner to center. So that is going to be the dot test, the lower left corner. And let's do another one. So that is that one, and the dot test lower right corner is going to be this one. Okay, explain what you are trying to do. I'm trying to do some math to figure out if a point is inside a hexagon or not. That is pretty much it. So the lower right corner. So I test the lower right corner to the test point, and direction lower right corner to the center, and this one over here. Okay, so I think that is correct. Do some VR dev tutorials. Yep, that is a topic that I very much would like to research. I've only played a few VR games. I really love Beat Saber. That is really awesome, and that is quite a workout. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, I definitely would like to research a bit more VR, maybe do some videos. But yeah, with that, the whole problem is how do you present them? That is kind of the tricky thing. So for VR, I would kind of have to get a camera set up in order to, I don't know, showcase wearing the headset and so on. So yeah, it's a tricky thing, but yeah, definitely an area that I would love to research. All right, so this is all working. So that one is outside, that one is inside, that one is outside, that one is inside. Okay, so honestly, with all of these, obviously this code is not very pretty, but it does work. So if I go like this, I've got my test point, I check if it's inside the horizontal, inside the vertical, and then inside I do all of these calculations, test against all of the angles. And now, after this, oh hey, another custom character. Hey, thanks for being here. All right. So now for testing if it's inside all of them, now of course I could still do some math, but if I test pretty much all of these dot tests, if they are all under 0, so that's pretty much going to be the thing. Devil's Quest, you can easily cast to a web browser. Is that so? That is interesting. Need to look into that. I do have a Quest. It's really awesome. Being wireless really is quite a game changer. So yeah, that is pretty cool. All right, so with all of these, debug.log inside Hexagon. There you go, just like that. So all the math is actually pretty simple. It looks complex because there's a lot of things involved, but the math is all pretty simple. So with all this inside the horizontal, the vertical, yep. And then I got this one. All right. So yeah, this is quite the tricky thing. Make an application transparent window in Unity with characters, similar to the one. Yep. And just in case you don't know, I did make a video on that. So if you want the transparent Unity window, I made a video on how you can achieve that, which is what I'm using over here for the overlay. And if you want to know how I made the characters, those are pretty much just dynamic meshes. So you can look into those to figure out how I built all of this. You are actually an old man. Am I old? I guess that is very relative. I mean, I'm 34 years old, so I guess depending on the point of view, that might be old or not. Okay, so let's test. So did I not make a... Oh, I did make a log. All right, awesome. Let me make another log here. So let's do that one, return. And if it does not return, debug.log outside Hexagon. Okay, let's see. Older than 34. Okay, all right. Okay, so the logic is indeed working. So over here, I'm outside the hexagon, and as I go here, still outside, as I go here, still outside, and I go in there, and yep, I'm inside. So outside, inside, over here, inside, everywhere. Go there, outside, on the corners, outside, inside. All right. Oh boy. Okay, that was pretty interesting. Make the sphere change colors if it's outside or in. You know what? That's actually a very fun idea. So let's do that, just for fun. So let's make a serialized field for the, do I go material? Yeah, let's go, no, let's go with mesh render. Mesh renderer for the sphere mesh renderer. Let's go with that one, then make a material, call it green material. And let's go with another one, call it the red material. So let's try doing that just for fun. So you put that one, dot material, autocomplete isn't working. Dot material equals the green material if it's inside, and if it's outside the hexagon, let's go with the red material. Red material, just like this. Okay. 37N can code this well. Well, I mean, it all depends on when you start. That's pretty much it. If you start a bit late, then definitely don't feel too bad. I mean, you can always learn. That's pretty much it. No matter how old you are, you can always start learning right now. That's the same thing with me, with going to the gym. I definitely wish I started going to the gym when I was like 18 years old. But anyways, okay, I went a bit late, but still, it's still enough to be pretty effective. So yeah. Okay, so let's write the sphere mesh render and the material. Oh boy, I can't read it. Hey everyone, nice. I can't read underneath that. So the green material and the red material. All right. Oh boy. Oh right, it's past 6 p.m. I didn't even notice, but the video should be live right now. So it's red and it's green. Red, green, red, green. All right, awesome. So yeah, all the logic works. Over here it's red, and as I go inside, there you go, turns green. So I can definitely identify when an object is inside or outside a hexagon. Okay, that is really awesome. It's really cool. Oh boy, all right, nice. Okay, thanks for the tutorials, helps a lot, that's awesome. I'm glad the videos have helped you. Okay, let me just make sure that the video was supposed to launch. Did it launch correctly? Did everything go correctly? Yep, it did. And just in case you haven't seen that video yet, pretty much it's just an overview of the new Humble Bundle, which has not just visuals, but actually some really interesting tools, like this one over here. If you want to make things nice and bouncy, look at that. You can make things real nice and bouncy and collide with things. That is really interesting. So this one is supposedly about art, but it does have a lot of interesting tools, like this one, which can turn a 3D mesh and make it pixelated. So really awesome. So this bundle, I thought with art it wasn't going to be as interesting, but actually has quite a lot of interesting tools. So yeah, pretty nice. Anyways. Okay, so the Hex did indeed work. Yep, a new Humble Bundle. Yeah, there is the tool bundle last week, and now there's a new one. Okay, so all this logic worked. So I got all the corners, all the things, so I'll have to refactor this code to come up with a bit better names, but all the logic is indeed working. So I test if it's inside the horizontal, the vertical, and then I test against all of the things. Now, of course, this could be a lot more performant, but yep, that does indeed work. So the only thing is over here, the test point, and you gotta do some math. Trying to think of how I would change that. Okay. And the other thing that I want to test is if instead of just one hexagon, if I'm testing out a grid of hexagons, trying to see if the distance would work, because I'm not sure that it would or would. Am I upside down? No. Okay. Why is that? Okay, now I'm confused. Where am I? That is the X. Okay, right. I was a bit confused on that, yeah. A nice Unity art bundle, yep. How to be part of Humble Bundle. I'm not sure what you mean part. You mean as a publisher? Well, I guess Unity organizes the bundle, so the Unity Assessors team, would be the ones who invite people, I would assume. So pretty much like that. Okay. Right, I was going to test the distance just to see if a distance works, because I don't think it works, but maybe it does, I'm not sure. So technically on a grid, this would be 0.5, this would be 0.75, is that correct? Or is it 7.25? No, I think that's 2.5, no, yeah, definitely 7.5, okay. So pretty much like this. And now if I put over here on minus 0.5, and if I go down there, so this would be on 1, 0, yeah, exactly. All right, so let me just do another interesting thing. So let me make here a serialized field, private, what do I want, a transform, let's do a list, I prefer a list of transforms, so hex transform list. So let's go with that one. And over here, let's actually, let's not run this code right now. So just return, don't want to run that. Okay. So I want to find the closest. So transform closest equals null. Then, yeah, for each of these, so transform hex, transform in the hex transform list. If the closest equals null, then this one becomes the closest, so closest equals the hex transform. And if not, then let's do a vector3.distance. Calculate the distance from the closest dot transform dot closest dot position, that is already transform, from that one to the mouse wheel position. So let's define the test point up here. So from that to the test point, if the new one is closer than the closest, so let's test this one, the hex transform dot position, the distance, if it is closer than the one that was closest, then the closest becomes this hex transform. Okay, let's do a debug.log on this closest and see if this does work. Because I'm not sure that the hex transform list, just testing like this, I'm not sure this would work, but maybe it does work. So maybe all that math is only really required for, or actually, right, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so, well, I need to kind of remember where all of these positions are. So that is yeah, this one is the original, then the quad 1, quad 2, and quad 3, okay. So if I'm here, this one is the quad, that one is the quad 1, that one is the 2, and that one is the 3. And if it is right up there, even if it goes to the corner, yep, it still says that one and that one. Alright, so yeah, actually this does work. So if I'm doing just one hex, yeah, I do need to do all that math. But if I'm testing against a grid, then I actually just need to do transform positions. Alright, so that actually simplifies the code by quite a lot. So I'm trying to think. Let me think. How to update textures in Stream. You can follow this tutorial where you can download the base texture, you can draw whatever you want on it, then you can save your changes and make sure you link your YouTube account so that the character knows which one belongs to you. And then of course this has the manual validation, so if you do that, then let me know and I will manually validate it. Okay, so what do I want? Let me go into my grid system. Oh, I didn't name it grid system, I just named it grid. Right. Because my avatars are sick, yeah. Nice Mr. Bean with nice doggy. Doggy? Doge? Is that Doge? Well, technically just a Shiba, I guess. Anyways, alright. So, actually, can you validate? Okay, let me try doing that. Let me see if there are any new ones. Okay. Yeah, right, so this is the other math that I'm going to pretty much need to do. That is going to be tricky. Okay, now that one is definitely going to be tricky. How do I take a world position and convert it into a hex grid XY? I guess that would be it. I would have to do some math and figure out which one is closest. That's kind of it. So let's see. Okay, there's a bunch of custom textures. All right, so let me put them and now update the character customization, and in a little bit, there you go, there's a custom texture, a nice snowman. That is nice. Is he looking left, right? He's looking right. There you go. I like that. That is nice. Hey, another one. Yeah, there you go. Nice. All right, that is cool. Okay, right. So a lot of custom textures already. That is fun. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, the main thing that I wanted to do, doing all of this math to calculate if a certain point is inside or outside, that did work perfectly. Just divide the world position.x on the hex size and add 0.5 as the row is on. Yeah, I can figure out the x and y. The problem is on the angles, because I need to take a world position and convert it into that one. If I just add an offset, then it won't be a hex shape. It won't just be an offset grid shape. So yeah. Why don't you use dark mode? Because dark mode burns my eyes. That's pretty much it. Should go about rendering the hex grid in game. Well, actually, yeah, actually that is another thing that I wanted to try out. Now that this logic is indeed working, you can pretty much just make a custom mesh. So pretty much on the characters down here, these are all custom meshes. So that is kind of what I want to do in order to print out a grid. So let's actually try doing that. But yep, on the logic for testing if it's inside or outside a single one, that does work. Dark mode burns my eyes, but not the other way around. Yep, that is correct. Dark mode burns my eyes. My eyes can't seem to focus on white letters on a dark background. But over here, but if it isn't like this, my eyes got no problem. I can look at this for hours on end, no issue. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so the logic for testing if it's inside or outside a hex grid does work perfectly. So inside and outside, and all of this, these are all outside of the main one, and as I go in here, go inside like that. All right, so that is pretty cool. Okay, great. Right, so yeah, let's actually try doing a visual to the hex, since this is indeed working. So let's go here. I just want to run it once, so let's do it on start. And I've got my mesh utils, which I wrote in a video, I don't even know how long. I think maybe it was on the mesh video. Kind of like that, where I can create an empty mesh. And then, okay, these are adding quads, so that is not what I want. Yeah, I think I'll just manually add the mesh. Yeah, I think that is probably the best approach, because these are all add line points. So pretty much all of this was made with quads in mind and not really made with the other thing in mind. Okay. All right, so I think I'll just manually make it, which should be fun because I haven't made a mesh in quite some time. So basically I need the vertices, the UVs, and the triangles. Okay, so let's actually do this. Can I create an empty mesh? Yeah, that one just creates the empty ones. Then I'm copying them and so on. Okay. Right, so let's actually try this. To use VS Code or VS. This is just standard Visual Studio. It's the community version, which is free. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so let's start just drawing a triangle. So we need 3 vertices. Do I need the UVs? I don't think I need the UVs for now. And the triangles, that is 6, right? 6 plus 1. Oh, right. Is it 6? Okay, now I'm confused. No, it's not 6. It's 6 if I was making a quad. If I'm just making a triangle, then it's only 3. Okay, right. So mesh equals a new mesh. And then mesh dot vertices equals these vertices. Mesh dot triangles equals triangles. Okay, so now I just need I got a mesh render. Now let's make a mesh filter. So hex mesh filter. So let's try this one. Then I do that. Then on mesh filter.mesh equals this mesh. Okay, so let's add something and see if it does work. My chat is on the other side, other thing. Okay, right. I had the free version, I enjoy it, but I'm too poor. Yeah, I've heard great things about Rider, but I have not used it. How do I make my own utilities package? I'm not sure what you mean by... I mean, there's nothing special about utilities. That's just a... For example, over here, I've got my code monkey.utils. Why can't I find the utils class? Ah, utils class. So that's all it is. These are utilities. You just put it inside namespace and start writing classes, objects, functions, whatever. So yeah, pretty much what you need. So yeah, there's nothing else. There's nothing special about the name utilities. It's really just code with useful functions that you might do. For me, I've been building this class with lots of interesting things for, I don't know, like 10 years now. Like for example, over here, random city name. This is when I made my first Steam game, Survivor Squad, where I need a bunch of names for random towns that were randomly generated. So I made this function, and since it might be useful, I also put it in here. So that's pretty much it. Same thing for getting random names, just in case I need them. Get a random ID, random so on. So yeah, just a bunch of useful functions. Okay. Where's the Hexagon class? It's over here, just something simple, just because I need to store all the points, all the things. Okay, so let's see if this one does spawn a mesh. So I need to go up here, and let me actually hide the visuals. Hide those visuals right now. Let me just duplicate this one. Let me unlock that one. Let's call this Hex. Going to have a mesh filter, mesh render, but no material, no nothing, just like that. So let's see if this one does change. Let's just drag the reference and let's test. Okay, right. Is this code hard to make? Not really. What I've got here is very much something pretty simple. So yeah, okay, so that's my mesh. And isn't this super? Oh yeah, there you go. 3 vertices. Okay, so I think that does work. Okay. So now let's put some points. So on the vertices, vertices 0, let's put it on new vector 3 on 0, 0, 0. Okay, then I've got the vertices 1. Let's put a triangle, so put it to the right on 1, 0, 0, and that one 0, 0, 1. So just like this. Then I've got to set up the triangles. So triangles, where is this one going to be? Let's go, because this one, I always get confused if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm going to assume that it's clockwise, so let's start off on vertex 0, and then let's go 1, that's 1, the right, so that would be counterclockwise, so let's go into 2, and then 2, 1. Okay, let's see. This looks complex to me. Well, it depends on your base knowledge. I mean, for example, what I'm doing here, these are just basic meshes. So if you know how meshes work, then this is pretty basic, but if you don't know how meshes work, then yeah, this looks quite a bit confusing. And all the math down here, it looks like a lot, but it's really just doing the same thing over and over. So vector 3 dot dot. This one, by the way, this was a super awesome thing that I made, the backstab mechanic. That was a fun video to make. That is what made me research the vector 3 dot mechanic, the math function, to see how it works. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, definitely watch it, because it's a pretty interesting thing. You can basically use some math to figure out if a character is behind another one to trigger a backstab or not. That is fun. Do you make assets or buy them? I buy them because I am not a artist, 3D modeler, so all of these are from a various Cinti packs. So yeah, I haven't drawn any of these. I am not an artist, I'm not a 3D modeler, nothing like that, so yeah. Okay, so I could probably get rid of that, but did this not work? Did it end up backwards? Why did I put a collider? I did put a collider. I don't want a collider. But let's go into wireframe. Except I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Wait, did I put it on the Z? Wait, where am I? Yeah, XZ. So why is that? Did I mess up in there? What did I do? No, I put it on the X and on the, is this rotate? Okay, this is rotate. Yeah, that is why. So put it on 0 and get rid of the collider. Okay. Many times have you tried learning Blender? I tried it like a year ago, half a year ago. I don't know. I actually learned quite a bit, but yeah, as always, it's a question of experience and training. So I haven't really touched it much since. So yeah, if I went back right now, I definitely would need quite a bit of a refresher. Does Portugal have their own version of Silicon Valley? Are there any tech hubs in the country? Not really. I mean, there's some tech-related universities, but not really anything on the scale of Silicon Valley. There's pretty much no game developers over here in Portugal. I think the biggest one is Miniclip, which they make mobile games. They used to make Flash games and now make mobile games. So I think that's the biggest one here, but yeah, not much of a market. It's a pretty tiny country, so yeah. I mean, that is why I eventually became independent, is because if I went for a regular job, I wouldn't be able to find anything. So yeah, I mean, that led to me doing what I am doing now, so I'm quite happy with how things turned out. So that was fun. Okay, yeah, Oeiras Valley wants to be like Silicon Valley. Yeah, it wants to, but I don't know, at least I'm not too familiar with it, but yeah, I know they want to become, but I don't know, maybe there's something awesome that came out of there that I don't know. That would be something. Got a custom character made. Okay, let me refresh the validation. Okay. Thanks so much for the town-based course. It immensely helped me nail an interview segment. All right, that's awesome. Yeah, I hope it goes well. Best of luck. That is great. That is great. Yeah. I hope you get it. What was I doing? Use Unity for other projects other than making games. Well, this overlay here, this is technically not a game, and it is made with Unity, so yeah, I just messed up in here. So yeah, I haven't really built. I also built a nice a graph to graph a bunch of things. So I had some data points, so I created a simple graph in Unity and did that, so like that. And so yeah, thanks again, Inaut, for the super chat. What was I doing? That is not working. Yeah, so this is indeed working. So it is going to that, and I'm pretty sure the only reason why it's pink is just because I did not assign a mesh. So if I assign a meshing material, yep, it does work. All right, awesome. So actually this might be super simple for drawing a mesh. I'm trying to think. So I can create a hexagon, and let me do a return here because I don't want those logs to keep popping up. So I've got a hexagon point center, and let's actually define it up here. So up here, does the order matter in the vertices array? Yes, it matters for depth, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it matters for depth. Pretty much vertices lower on the array are going to be in front of the ones, or I'm not sure. There was something to it, but yeah, I'm not sure. Is it depth? No, actually, I don't think it's depth, because obviously it does work if the camera rotates. Or maybe it was depth, but only on 2D. Yeah, I think that was it. I think maybe that was it. When making these characters, I have to make sure that the quad for the head is drawn after the quad for the body, and the quad for that hand has to be drawn first. I think that was it. I think that's why. So I think in 2D, the order on the vertices array does matter, but in 3D, maybe not. I don't know. That's a good question. But over here on triangles, it does matter. If you put it counterclockwise, then it's pretty much going to look the other way. So that's kind of tricky. How many hours a day do you spend programming? Well, that really depends on the days. I spend a lot of time just researching things for new videos. I spend a lot of time just writing videos, recording, editing. So yeah, programming, I don't know, maybe 2 hours a day. It really depends on the kind of things that I'm doing. When I was preparing the course, yeah, that was pretty much just programming. When I was making the games, pretty much just programming. But yeah, nowadays with making video tutorials, that involves quite a lot more than just programming. So yeah. I don't get in trouble for using IP characters like Spider-Man in your videos. No, I mean, I only use it in very, very limited ways. So for example, on the Spider-Man video, that was quite a long time ago. That was pretty fun, making that one. When I made this one, Shoot Webs, this was still when I was making tutorials in multiple parts. Yeah, that was a fun character, but yeah, the character, I mean, it was drawn by me, so it's obviously Spider-Man, but I drew the sprite in order to make it work. So yeah, it's not big enough for the automated content from Disney or whatever to find out, and my channel is way too small for anyone to manually care. So, so that's pretty much it. Why I never really got any issues. That's pretty much it. What was I doing? Right. So I got the hexagon. So this is pretty much just making triangles, right? Yeah. So if I put, let's build on the vertices. So vertex 1 is going to be the hexagon.center point. Then for this one, yeah, let's put all of those. So center point, let's go the upper right corner. Let me just copy all these. Considered free advertising. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I got millions of views, then maybe somebody would be upset. But yeah, at this point, yeah, just pretty much advertising. Unit testing in game dev is an important part. I mean, that depends on how you work. For me, I really value the concept of testing, but in terms of being an indie game developer, you really have to be insanely fast. You've got to be able to produce a game extremely quickly. And for that, if you are a solo game developer, then testing just adds more work without too much benefit. If you're part of the team and making something really complex on a massive scale, then definitely. But something on the scale of the games that I make, small indie games, for that, I don't think the math works out for the time that it takes to make testing. But just because I don't specifically do testing, I absolutely do sort of test-driven development. I mean, not driven by testing, but every code that I write, I try to make sure that the code would be testable. So I don't write unit tests, but I do make sure that the code that I write would be possible to use unit tests. So that's my answer to that. All right, another super chat. That's nice. Thank you. How would you make enemies backstab the player? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you referring to the backstab video? I mean, the logic for that one would be the same. So you would test the vector from the enemy's point of view to the player's point of view. So if the enemy is behind the player, then you would trigger the backstab attack. Although probably with the enemies, you would make it a bit more specific. So they would have to be right behind. Otherwise, it would be very tricky. So yeah, that's pretty much what you do. Pretty much the exact same logic as here on this video. Pretty much the exact same logic, but just apply to the enemy AI. So then how do you move the enemy and all of that? That is pretty much, well, that really depends on what kind of AI you're using, what kind of state machine, what kind of system. Yeah, but the logic for testing the backstab specifically, yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same thing. So you just do a simple dot product to test if a point is behind a certain point. Okay, so let's do a triangle. Let's try doing one on the upper right. So yeah, for this one, let's actually make this, yeah, this is not going to match, but okay. Let's do 7 points, and for triangles, let's put just 3. And I already forgot. It's got to be counterclockwise or clockwise? I think it's clockwise. So let's start from the center point. Let's go to the upper corner, so that is index 2. Okay, great. Then let's go to the upper right corner, which is index 1. All right, so just like this, it should work. Love tutorials, keep it up. That's awesome. I'm glad you like the videos. I mean, the only reason why the channel exists is because all of you watch the videos. So yeah, thank you all for being here. I'm glad you find the videos useful and helpful. Okay, did this work? Let me create a point just to verify that it is positioned correctly. It's on 0, 0, 0. And for this point, if I move it in there, I'm on 0.5, 0.25. Okay, that is correct. And there on 0.5. All right. Okay, awesome. So that did work. I love your work. I may have moved away from Unity, but your concepts certainly carry over. Yeah, there's a lot of game development is very general. For example, I'm sure all of you are already aware, but just in case you're not, definitely, let me open a, it was broken. Definitely go and watch the Game Maker's Toolkit. Thanks again for the super chat, real nice, thank you. The Game Maker's Toolkit, so pretty much really awesome videos on game design, and none of that is related to any specific engine. So yeah, a lot of things about game development are very global, so yeah, you can definitely, even if you're not using Unity, you can certainly learn a bunch of things from my channel, or if you're using Unity, you can learn from an Unreal channel. Yeah, a lot of things about game development, they're pretty universal. Yeah, GMTK is definitely an awesome channel, really awesome, lots of awesome info. Okay, so let me try making the second point. Let me make the one going from the upper right to the upper left. So let's add another triangle. So 3, 4, 5. So over here I'm going to need 6 triangles. So for that one, I'm going to start on 0. And again, gotta go clockwise. So I gotta go there. So that's the upper left corner. So that is on index 3. No, this one is on 0. This one is on 3. Then going to 1, which is the upper corner. Or did I do it the other way? No, yeah, I did it correct. Okay, like that. So I gotta go into 2, which is the upper corner. Okay, great. Don't forget neck or shoulder pain when hunched over the keyboard. Recommend that chair you're sitting on. I don't know, this chair is pretty basic, but I bought it like, I don't know, 7 years ago, so I don't even exactly know make or model, or rather, I don't think this company still exists, so I don't know if I would recommend this chair specifically. I mean, it's not bad, it's pretty standard, just nothing special. And yeah, I don't really get neck or shoulder pain just because I make it an effort to go out as much as possible. So I don't really sit here for 8 hours a day. I've got my dogs, so I take them outside 3 times a day. So that lets me get up and move. I drink a lot of water, so getting up, drinking a lot of water, that also makes a nice break. I go to the gym, so again, also a nice break. I go for a walk, so again, nice break. So yeah, if you got problems with neck and shoulder pain, I highly recommend you simply spend less time in front of the computer and less time sitting, because yeah, that is definitely not a very healthy thing. Yeah, that would be my best advice, because yeah, focusing on a chair that can solve that, I don't think that would actually work. Although yeah, a good chair is definitely, yeah, a standing table can also be good if you're standing. I mean, the best thing about posture that I've heard is the best posture is your next posture. Meaning constantly switch around your posture. That's pretty much the thing. How do you do that with the pen? These are pen tricks. So if I search for pen tricks, if you search, back when I learned there was no YouTube, but yeah, nowadays you've got lots of pen spinning, pen tricks, lots of interesting, awesome stuff. I only know the basics, but yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I did make that one. So yeah, the logic is indeed working, so let's make all the other triangles. So I've got that one, so that's 6, 7, and 8. And for this one, I want that one. So in order to go, I've got to go into the lower left corner, so that is on index 4. Then the upper left corner, that is on index 3, yep. And then go into the center point, so that is on 2. All right, yeah, because I started on the other one. Let's keep it the same. So start on 0. Then go on the lower left, so that is on 4, then go into 3. Okay, so for the next one, I gotta go down, so that's 9, 10, and 11. So start on 0, go down, that's the lower corner, that's on 6, then to the lower left, that's on 4. Okay, and now let's see the other one. Hey CPU, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. All right, so let's go into 12, 13, and 14. So start on 0. Okay, no, I already forgot this one. What is the 6? The 6 is the lower corner in the lower left. All right, so I want to go down into the same 6, but then I want to go into the lower right corner, so that is on 5. Okay, and I think there's only one left, so that going into 5, and from 5, then I'm going to go into the upper right corner, that is on 1. That is on 14, 15, 16, 17. So there are 18 triangles. Okay, let's see if I put all that correct. All right, thanks again. Oh boy, it's already almost 7, so just a bit more. My voice is already starting to go. And apparently I messed something up. Okay, what did I mess up? Was it the last one? Oh, I went backwards. This is always the tricky part. This is always the tricky thing when making meshes. You got to make them clockwise if you want them to face upwards. If you make them counterclockwise, they face downwards. So that is why. Oh, right, because I kept going in this same direction instead of the other direction, so that is why it broke. So if I just swap this, so 5 and 6, and 1 and 5, if I swap this, now it should work. Okay. And yep, there you go. Look at that. A nice drawn hexagon drawn using code. Look at that. It looks really nice. So a nice pointy hexagon. And it is on 0, 0. So now the other logic, if I run that, it should work the same, even though the other visual isn't working. Kind of like coding has a nice tutorial on the Hex Grid map. Does he? That's nice. I've seen that website a bunch of times, a bunch of really good, nice tutorials. So yeah, don't know how I missed that. Okay, so yeah, it does work, and the logic for testing if it's inside the hexagon still works. Let me just make a proper thing for this. So let's make one, just call it, I don't know, gray. Just take away the emission, make it a simple gray, just to put it on this one so it's not the boring pink. So like this, if I go, and there you go. So I'm inside and inside and inside. So outside the hexagon and inside, outside, inside, outside, inside. All right, boy, that's great. In Portugal, is Android more popular than iPhone? I actually don't know these statistics. I'm trying to think about the people that I know. I think it's mainly Android, at least from the people that I do know. I know about 2 or 3 people with iPhones, then about 7 or 8 with Androids. So yeah, I guess over here Android is more popular, but yeah, that's just very much anecdotal. So yeah, I really don't know what the stats are. As for me, I've always had Android. I mean, iPhones are pretty expensive, and Portugal is not a very high income country. So yeah, very few people can afford to spend like 700 or 800 bucks on an iPhone. So yeah, so maybe it is, yeah, majority is Android, but you see plenty. Yep, there's a bunch of iPhones, but yeah, I wonder if statistically the majority is Android. That's an interesting one. Know about the Octagon? Yeah, that could be interesting. Actually, that's a good question. Why are hexagons so popular amongst game development, but octagons are not? Actually, if you search Octagon game development, does it, or just games, is going to show me just UFC games? No. Yeah, so basically is that the, oh god, what was it called? There was a really awesome one within an octagon. But yeah, not many with grids like this. Yeah, so apparently there are not many games using octagons. I don't know why, because it is an interesting shape. So yeah, but I guess most of them, if I search for hexagon games, then all of a sudden, yeah, see quite a bunch more things, quite a bunch more. Yeah, so I guess for some reason people like hexagons more than octagons. You cannot fill the plane with octagons. You can't? Because you... Octagon. Octagon grid. Does it create gaps? Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's why. Yeah, okay, so great news. So we found the answer. Yeah, because with hexagons, they all fit perfectly. But yeah, I guess with octagons, you end up with these tiny gaps. So yeah, you could still make a game around that, but yeah, that would definitely make it, if you want to make it fit perfectly, then yeah, I guess hexagons are bestagons, I guess. I guess that is the answer, I guess. All right. Okay, so all the research, all the logic that I wanted to try out, it did indeed work. Testing out all this logic with the directions, testing out the lines, doing a vector 3 dot. Again, for me, I'm not very good at math, so the fact that I figured out how to make all of this, I'm pretty happy with that, pretty happy with the result. So all the math worked, doing all the directions, the perpendiculars, the dot products, testing left, right, and so on. So yeah, all of that worked quite nicely. Okay. Octagons are better used as structure maps, or use the gap as tunnel between rooms. Oh, that's a good point, yeah. I guess you could use octagons for sort of the world map, and then hexagons for the inner map, so kind of connect multiple world maps in octagon shape, and then hexagons for the inner room shape. That could be an interesting design. That would be interesting. Okay, right, so my voice is going. It's almost 7. All right, so I think that's gonna be it, because the logic did work. It did work correctly. What's your keyboard? The very old Samsung. I have no idea what the model name is. I've had this for, I don't know, about 15 years. So yeah, it still works. It's a membrane keyboard, which technically a lot of people don't like, but yeah, it's what I'm used to, so works pretty well. All right, yeah, so yeah, anyways, the logic that I want to do, research if a point is inside or outside a hexagon, and yep, the logic does work perfectly. So I test there, and it does work awesomely. So yeah, pretty great. Okay, right, so I think that's gonna be it. My voice is messed up. Wonder why most game devs learn pen spinning. Well, I learned it before I was into game development. I mean, I learned it when I was like, I don't know, 15 years old, and I saw some random video clips of some people doing pen spinning, and I thought, oh, that is so cool. So I spent a bunch of time learning. Yeah, I mean, but it is a nice thing to keep your brain focused while you're trying to think of something and keep your hands occupied. So yeah, it's a pretty nice. Some extensions for VS extensions. I guess the only one that I use, where do you see the extensions? The extensions, where are they? Is it this? Yeah, there you go, this one, VS4. That's pretty much the only one that I use because it adds all of these colors, all of these nice things. Then the Visual Commander, I just got that one just for moving up and down with the cursor. So move up or down about 10 lines, I think, instead of going page up or page down, which is massive. So this one just goes up by a tiny bit, so this is useful. So yeah, it's pretty much the only two that I have. There's the nice colors, which I quite like. Makes everything super easy to read. I can see, okay, look at this. This one is a string. This one is a type, another type, and another bunch of things. So yeah, pretty nice. So my Visual Studio is really pretty basic. One butterfly knife tricks. Wow, that's pretty hardcore. I mean, that does sound very cool, but also very dangerous. So, so yeah, I guess that's why I never got into that. Yeah, good place to learn visual scripting from. Well, I mean, I've got a bunch of videos and I've got a course on it. Assuming that by VS you mean Visual Scripting, not Visual Studio. But yeah, Visual Scripting. So I've got a whole bunch of videos on YouTube, and I've got my course, which makes a whole bunch of games. This was also a fun course to make. I mean, I love programming, but it was fun to research how to make all of these games without writing a single line of code. That was pretty fun. I'm quite happy with this game. A really nice FPS. You've got some rockets, some jumping, got a nice boss fight, got a nice hook shot, multiple weapons, and again, all of it without writing a single line of code. So that was pretty fun. Okay, anyways, so my voice is already going, so I think that's gonna be it. This was very productive. I managed to do quite a lot, so figured out this logic of testing if a point is inside or outside a hexagon. So now that the research portion did work, now eventually I have to write this into a video because I couldn't find anyone teaching this specific thing, how to test if a point is inside a hexagon. The only things that I could find were using tons of math equations, which for me really does not work. So hopefully if you're also like me and you're not extremely advanced in math, hopefully you should be able to follow my video on the subject. So that should hopefully be useful to at least some people. So that should be like that. Okay. Right, my voice is really going, so that's gonna be it. All right, so yeah, thank you all so much for being here. This was really nice, and the live streams have been going well. So yeah, I'm definitely planning to do, I don't know, at least one per week. That should hopefully be doable. So a bit of a nice interaction with all of you and answer all your questions and do whatever. So that should be fun. So hopefully a few more in the future coming. So anyways, all right. So once again, thank you all so much for being here. Let me just re-enable the background. Everything looks good. All right, so that's going to be it for me. All right, so thank you all so much. Thank you, and see you next time.